Good morning, friends. Welcome to Here I Stand. We are going to focus on the results from Virginia. There were other states and some significant results, but we're probably going to focus on Virginia and the issue of CRT in Virginia. Was that an issue in the elections? And the answer, of course, it was. And the next question then, was it a made-up issue? The Democrats are trying to say, oh, CRT was never being taught in Virginia schools, and the expression they used was, it is a dog whistle. That's the claim. It's a dog whistle. So I'm Pastor Calvin Lindstrom, joined by Pastor James Pittman. I want to put your last name on there, James. New Hope Community Church in Palatine, former Southern Baptist congregation, right, James?
That's right, former
Southern Baptist congregation, Church Christian Liberty. We are independent Presbyterian, never have been Southern Baptist, though we've followed what's been going on. Anyway, James, a pretty important election. Let me share Joe Biden's take on the election here, and have you comment on that. Joe Biden says people want us to get things done.
Mm-hmm.
That the reason why Terry McAuliffe lost is not enough of Joe Biden's agenda was instituted. That's the claim. Let me see if I can make this a little bigger. People want us to get things done, Biden said when asked about former Virginia Governor Terry McAuliffe's upset loss in the battleground. They want us to get things done, and that's why I'm continuing to push very hard for the Democratic Party to move along and pass my infrastructure bill and my Build Back Better bill. When asked if he bore any of the blame for the loss in Virginia, Biden demurred. It should have passed before Election Day. Biden said in his agenda, but I'm not sure that I would have been able to change the number of very conservative folks who turned out and the red districts who were Trump voters.
They are not letting Trump go.
Yeah. Anyway, that's Biden's take. And Pelosi was also asked about this issue, and the party line, and you got to give the Democrats credit even when they lose. They are still focused on their agenda.
Yes.
And
voters be darned.
Well, no, it is. Whereas it seems like the Republicans sometimes do the reverse.
Yeah.
But the Democrats, they're focused on their agenda, and that's pass these things. So when Nancy Pelosi is asked what's going on, oh, we just have to pass these bills. They're not even going to consider the autopsy results. So anyway, that was Biden and the news coming out of there. Then James, I know you got some stuff to talk about, but here, this was from several days before the election, but let me share. Virginia Department of Education website promotes CRT despite McAuliffe claims it's never been taught there. And this was the interesting thing here. This goes back to 2015. This is Christopher Rufo who is bringing this out. Here is Brenda Townsend Walker. She's got a lot of initials after her name, and she's giving a presentation, the Commonwealth of Virginia Department of Education, reframing disciplinary practices through a tiered system of supports, and here incorporate critical race theory lens. Embrace critical race theory. Engage in race-conscious teaching and learning. Re-engineer attitudes and belief systems. This is this is not made up. And NPR.
They just lie.
Yeah. NPR and even local ABC News. Local ABC News anyway. They make the claim. Oh, Virginia schools have never taught CRT. The
They just lie.
lie
They
the
just
lie
lie.
just gets repeated despite. I mean, these parents, I guess, are just imagining this was
Yeah.
happening.
Yeah. It never happened. Never happened.
It
it,
is.
it, it is truly amazing how they just, I mean, just obvious things. You could be in the midst of a hurricane with torrential rains, and they'll tell you it's not raining.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not raining.
Yeah.
They don't care to even try to tell the truth anymore. But
Yeah.
whatever.
Now, James, let me ask you, what do you know about Glenn Youngkin, the governor elect?
Absolutely nothing. The only thing I know is he's the governor-elect of Virginia. That's it.
Okay. I think I mean, I'm glad
That,
McAuliffe lost.
that's not true. That's not true. Hold on. That's not true. I did see an interview with him on Tucker last night,
Okay.
and Tucker claims he's a man of faith,
Okay.
and that he actually rejected critical race theory because he says we're all God's children. Now, I don't know the man's theology, but Tucker was like, you injected religion into a political thing, a political race. How did your advisors
Mm-hmm.
advise you? And he says, I don't always listen to my advisors. He said, this is what I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And so he actually told them, hey, no, we're all God's children. So that seems like he has some convictions, some religious convictions that he was willing to stand on. So
Yeah.
that's all I know about him.
Sure. Sometimes what happened, I mean, when Bruce Rauner beat our previous governor who managed to stay out of jail, there were people, oh yeah, great, we got a Republican. As we know, sometimes the Republicans, they maybe they have a different initial, but that's about all that separates them.
They were Democrats months before they started running. Yes.
Yeah. So we should follow up and do a little more reading into Youngkin. Some would say he's part of the swamp, and I don't know.
Oh, is that part of the?
I read one email that the guy who runs Gab, the social media site Gab, he was not clapping very loudly for the victory, and that's one perspective. It's just something we have to investigate. James, I think you had a clip of the lieutenant governor elect.
So here's the issue. I saw, and it was true. One of the guys on Fox said that this is a huge, the huge racial injustice because they tried to inject race in the Youngkin's thing.
Yes.
Race. They said that the real racial problem is that Virginia, for the first time in history, has an African American woman who's holding a statewide office. MSNBC and CNN totally ignored her as if she doesn't even exist.
Yeah.
and I mean, it was just so amazing how terrible this is. Now, I did look on her webpage, her webpage. And again, you can only glean so much from people off their webpage, right? They're gonna only put up there what they want. I'm just simply going off of what she's put out publicly on her bio.
Right.
She's been involved in prison ministry. She's been involved in sharing the gospel, I think, through the Salvation Army.
Wow.
She to be an African American woman, to be pro-life, and to be a Republican, that says something in and of itself. So I don't know exactly where she is spiritually, but politically she seems to be dead on. And here she is. Ooh, look at that. Okay, here she is in an interview on Fox the morning after. Here we go.
But, when you've been out on the stump in the Commonwealth of Virginia, hasn't there been just a feeling as you talk to the people that the progressives in the Democratic Party have pulled the nation toward the left? And yesterday, what happened in Virginia was essentially saying, hold on, we don't want to go that far to the left.
Actually, what happens in Washington concerns us very greatly in Virginia because, as you know, NATO is headquartered in Virginia, as well as we have the largest naval base in the world, and the Pentagon is in Virginia. And by the way, Glenn Youngkin, as the commander-in-chief, as governor, would be also commander-in-chief of the Virginia Air National Guard. So, and I would be his second. So we are concerned, but I think what has happened with the progressives is that they have pitted all of us against each other so that they can swoop in and be our political savior. And we are saying that, you know, we have to be one Virginia. I have won my race as lieutenant governor, and I'm not going to be representing Republicans solely. No, I'm representing Republicans, Libertarians, Green Party, Reform Party, Democrats, everybody. We've got to learn to live together, to get along so that we can have a peace.
Yeah. And
Well, you could try to have peace all you want, Mrs. Sears. Not sure how much you're going to achieve when it comes to that. But that's her. They did not, to my knowledge, they have not interviewed her at all on any of the other networks.
Yeah.
They're completely ignoring the fact that Virginia, for the first time in history, has an African-American female holding statewide office. Completely ignored it.
Yeah. Well, I think, I don't know if it was one of the ladies on The View was basically trying to say it's still white supremacy.
I think they've redefined what white supremacy is.
Oh, they have, yeah. So, and she does have an incredible story. Her father coming from Jamaica with a $1.75 in his pocket. She served in the U.S. Marine Corps, I believe.
Yes, the Marine.
She loves America, and I think that's why they hate her. Is you?
Yeah, and you know, I saw another interview. She said we've got to get past this lie that America's a racist country. Here you have an immigrant Jamaican.
Yeah, I know.
Served in the Marine Corps.
Yeah.
And finally saying this, and I think this could catch fire.
Yes.
If she's going to be the face of the Republican Party in the midterm elections, right?
Yeah.
Calvin, and if she goes and says, "Look, you've got to make a choice.
Yeah.
If you think America's this racist, horrible place, vote for the Democrats because they're trying to destroy it.
Right.
If you think we've had our challenges and we've had challenges in the past, and if you think that we still have improvement, but it's still the greatest country on earth, vote Republican." Her face saying this could be devastating.
Oh, yeah.
Devastating.
Yes.
The Democrats and the narrative they try to paint this. You know, if she can go out and say, you know what, I came to this country voluntarily. Nobody's keeping you here.
Yeah.
If it's such a horrible place, you can leave.
That's right.
I mean, if she said it could be devastating to the Democrats. But here's the thing, the whole critical race there, I know we talked about this. Calvin, they just lie. And she touched upon this, the whole critical race theory. In the Virginia race, when Youngkin started to pick up steam, he tapped into the whole critical race theory issue being pushed in the state and in the schools. Terry McAuliffe, even toward the end of the election, started saying that's a lie. CRT has been taught in Virginia, and as we said before, the media, they don't even pretend to be investigators anymore, seekers of the truth.
No.
They just repeat this lie
over.
And it's a lie. Of course it's being taught. You've proved it already, but look at how shamelessly these people just lie in the media. Here's the next clip.
The enduring power of the culture wars, and the Republicans are better at playing this game because it's essentially white identity politics. That works for Republicans.
Education, which is code for white parents don't like the idea of teaching about race.
These guys have invented a boogeyman about a form of racial hierarchy that you've fantasized into existence that isn't actually taught in schools.
Anything that makes a white parent uncomfortable is critical race theory.
The way that Youngkin harped on race so much as his closing message is potentially motivating to black voters and to anti-racist voters.
He's found a way to launder a pretty racist trope, this idea that we cannot talk about America's history because it hurts my feelings. He's turned that into a campaign.
When this election is over in Virginia, we will know, have we seen the emergence of the Delta variant of Trumpism? Youngkin, same disease, but spreads a lot faster. It can get a lot more places.
You have to be willing to vocalize that these are dangerous.
This is unbelievable. I mean, they're living in an alternate reality.
Oh, it's funny.
And I don't know how you rationalize with those types of people.
Yeah,
I don't know if you can.
Yeah, they have a boy. You got to give them credit though for just the narrative just over and over and over.
And it doesn't matter what new facts are introduced to the conversation. They're going to just keep saying the same thing. Let's ignore the fact that a black president was elected twice to this country. No.
Yep.
They're racist.
No, it is.
It's amazing. It is amazing.
James, let me see here. This was in New Jersey. But did you hear about the guy who beat the Speaker of the Senate
with $150?
Yeah, I think he spent a little bit more money than that. But let me play this clip of this truck driver who won his election. This is Edward is his name. Here,
life raising my 3 kids. In 2020, my opponent sat by and watched as Governor Murphy forced nursing homes to take in COVID-19 patients, resulting in the death of over 8,000 of our seniors. He remained silent as Governor Murphy, with his lockdown and mandates, forced the closing of over 1/3 of our small businesses, costing New Jersey family thousands of jobs. He has done nothing, as 7 out of every 10 moves are leaving the state, placing a heavier burden on those of us who remain. The Senate President has spent 20 years in Trenton. Higher taxes, increasing debt, and a rising cost of living. We deserve better. New Jersey, it's time for a change.
Anyway, that is Edward Durr. Edward Durr is
unbelievable.
Yeah.
That's great.
And you gotta like this one, Jamel Hill. It's not the messaging, folks. This country simply loves white supremacy. And then teen Winsome Sears, we beg to differ.
Unbelievable.
It's all pretty funny, James.
These people are shameless. They're shameless.
So that was Edward Durr, and on a shoestring budget, some were saying $150. I think he claimed, I think on an interview, about $5,000 in the end, and he went door to door, I believe, is how he won his race. And this is, if you are going to enter into the political realm, I think his model shows how you got to do it. The only, really to reach people, you gotta go right to them. Otherwise, the amount of money that they spend, in terms of other aspects can be overwhelming. So you really do have to connect with your voters. Tom Morrison in Palatine, that's how he first won his election, and I think he's kept a lot of that up. He goes door to door. And they said that's the old-fashioned way of doing things. Media and internet, that has a place, but I don't think it can replace, you might say, the old-fashioned way of doing things. So there, I guess what gets me, James, is just still how fickle Americans are.
Well, here's the thing: are they fickle, Calvin, or are the voting machines fickle?
Well,
that's the question I have.
You do have to raise that. And New Jersey, with the governor's race, there are some questions about some things.
Oh, there's some huge questions. When the polls closed, the Republicans up by 50,000 votes. The New York Times actually reported, not 5,000, not 500, 50,000 50,000 votes. And the New York Times, who's no friends to conservative or Republicans, says up 50,000 in two heavily Democratic precincts. The votes kept trickling in as though they couldn't count them the night before. They kept trickling in, and now he's ahead. Come on, give me a break.
Yeah.
Give me a break. Come on.
Yeah, there's. I hope they can carefully observe what was going on there, and figure out if there's something that really can be investigated and prosecuted. Otherwise, if we don't have election integrity, then you have nothing, and there are definitely some serious questions in that regard. So I hope they can do some investigations there. Otherwise, when I say Fickle, Virginia easily went for Biden, I believe, in the election. How do you shift in a governor's race in less than a year? Well, about a year after that.
Mm-hmm. Maybe they didn't use the minion voting machines this year.
Yeah. It'd be interesting to know. And some of it is anger. People get angry and they take action. And, that's good. But you can't just be motivated by anger, right? Yeah. You got to be motivated by the worldview, right? And that's.
But they're not, Kelvin.
No, I know that's not how most people tend to think, sadly. So that frustrates me. So I'm happy for this, but in 2 years, 4 years, that could change again.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You just need someone suave enough. You got to give it to Obama. He was a master snake oil salesman, right?
One of the best.
He had accomplished nothing, and yet, wins 2 presidential elections on hope and change, right?
Yeah.
So that leads me to say, I'm thankful for the Lord's mercy, at least in this respect. There is a question, if this could happen in New Jersey, Virginia, can it happen in Illinois? Are we too deep in the swamp? And I know some commentators are still more not so optimistic for Illinois. And
the machine has perfected. The rest of the country is trying to catch up to the machine in Illinois.
Well, there is that, James. No, there is.
The machine was perfected right here in Cook County in Illinois.
And some of it, New Jersey is it's a fairly large population in New Jersey. It's one of the most densely populated states, I want to say.
Really? I thought the 2 largest markets weren't even in New Jersey. One was in New York and one is in Philadelphia.
In terms of what?
Their biggest populations in New Jersey are suburbs of New York and suburbs of Philadelphia. Newark is a suburb of New York, right?
Right. But I'm saying, no, right. Meaning it doesn't have a city like Chicago.
It does.
Really really wag the tail, as it were.
Correct.
So that's where Illinois is a little bit different than New Jersey in that regard. But New Jersey is a fairly blue state, and so they're does that spell? Now some of it is does the Illinois Republican Party, does it have a consistent message? Is the Illinois Republican Party willing to really stand up for issues, or are we gonna waffle? Some of it comes down to that. I see you shaking your head. You're not super optimistic on this. So
the Republican Party, the Republican Party elected Bruce Rauner.
No, I know.
Their nominee twice in a row.
Yeah.
He won the first one, lost the second one.
Yeah. No, you're right.
What confidence do we have?
No.
In the Republican Party that does that?
No, you're right, James. And Yeah, someone whose wife is a platinum donor to Planned Parenthood.
Yeah, she's the #1 donor of state Planned Parenthood.
That was our nominee, and that's why we were telling people this was dangerous. Okay, let me throw out a hand grenade. Should Trump be the nominee for the Republican Party in 2024?
No.
Why not?
Because I think there's better candidates. Ron DeSantis would be 10 times better.
Mm-hmm.
I can come off again. I didn't vote for him in the primaries the first time. I didn't.
Right.
I just think he brings with him his person, and this is partly his fault. His personality overwhelmed the issues.
Mm-hmm.
On the issues, he would have won easily. It's the personalities. It's the tweeting. He even said, when I go in the White House, I'll stop the tweeting. Never stop. Calvin, he's impulsive. He can't stop himself.
Right.
And so when you're dealing in a, I don't know, they're going to try again to make not the issues, but his personality the focal point.
Yeah.
Just have someone who can make the issues. Because again, I think the issues overwhelmingly terrible border, terrible inflation, terrible commander-in-chief in Afghanistan. Make it about the issues.
Mm-hmm.
Biden didn't even campaign on the issues. He stayed in his basement.
No, you're right.
Made it about Trump.
Let me, I would agree with you on that, James. Hillary Clinton, 2016, obviously everyone thought she was going to win. And what they pointed out was, obviously everyone, the whole political mainstream was on her side. What she suffered was people did not like her.
Didn't like her.
Trump, what Trump brings, there are a lot of people who like Trump, but there's
people don't like him.
No, exactly. And that, unfortunately, they are not going to just look at the issues. They will look at him. Now, no one, you could say, in American politics had so much negative media, right? I mean, you can't say that.
But Calvin, he helped.
Well,
that video, grab him by the crotch by women, it happened.
Oh no, you're right. No,
it's just.
Yes, no. He was a self-damaging person.
Yes.
And I would hope that in this case he recognizes he had his chance. I would say he did accomplish some good as president.
He's running, Calvin.
I am thankful for that, but I can see that as being the hand grenade that that could explode unless Trump is willing to jump on it first, you might say. So
what do you mean jump on it first? What do you mean by that?
Well, meaning suck up and say, you know what, it's time for someone else to carry on.
Yeah, but that's not him.
No, I know that is not.
He has a huge ego. Trump loves everything to be about him.
Yeah, no, I know.
I'm not saying he didn't do good things.
Right.
But that's why he couldn't stop tweeting. That's why he couldn't stop tweeting.
Right.
Loves the limelight.
Yeah.
Shows me, right?
So anyway, we'll have to keep in prayer and our ears open for what's going on there. But I do feel the same way, James. And
but if he runs, Calvin, I don't think anybody's going to run against him.
That'll be interesting. If you're the sitting president, no one tends to run against you. If you are now coming in again just as a former president and candidate, what does that do?
Have we ever had that before? I mean, yeah, back in the 1800s we had it.
Right? Well, Teddy Roosevelt served 2 times as president, non-consecutive terms.
He lost?
I believe, I'll have to look at my history, but I believe he
I know somebody lost and came back and won the next time. I know
right.
That. But wasn't that in the 1800s?
Well, either that or early 1900s. It was.
Early 1900s.
Yeah. Just because it happened doesn't necessarily mean it can happen again. I mean, we do it in pretty different times. But
and let me tell you something, Calvin. Trump's no spring chicken.
Well,
right?
that is the other issue, is age and the energy that it does take to do what he did. Does he still have that? That will be that'll be one of the questions. Is he you're going to keep in Tom Brady shape as he moves forward, or not on that? But well, friends, thanks for tuning in. Leave us a comment if you have questions or topics you want us to try to address in future episodes. Otherwise, for James and Here I Stand, we'll sign off here. Thank you, friends.
Yep. Thank you. God bless.